Hi, I'm Irma from Lawfully. Navigating the US immigration process can feel like solving a puzzle with missing pieces. That's why over 2 million people have turned to Lawfully to track more than 5 million immigration cases. We're here to make the process easier, faster, and more transparent with data-driven insights and peer-to-peer case comparisons. In today's video, I'll show you how to expedite your US immigration case and save valuable time. Let's dive in. First, let's break down what an expedite request really is. When you submit an application to USCIS, you're usually in for a wait. Sometimes it's a few weeks, but it could stretch into months or even years before you get a decision. But with an immigration benefit called an expedite request, you might be able to cut through the line and have your case adjudicated, also known as get to a decision sooner. It's important to remember that getting an expedite request approved doesn't mean your case will be automatically approved or denied. The process is 2 steps. First, you request the expedite, and if that's approved, then your case will be adjudicated ahead of others. But if your request gets denied, don't worry. There are other ways to speed up your case, and we'll dive into those options later in this video. Now, let's take a closer look at what USCIS says about expediting a case. Expediting your case generally means they'll process your application ahead of others, including those who filed earlier. In other words, you'll need to provide strong reasons and the right supporting documents to show why your case deserves to be expedited. But remember, the decision to expedite is entirely up to USCIS because they have full discretion. Don't worry though. We'll walk you through what the government considers compelling reasons, and based on our experience helping millions of people, we'll share insider tips that we've learned from helping millions of people to give you the best shot at getting your expedite request approved. What types of applications can be expedited? USCIS considers most applications for expedite requests, but the ones we see expedited most often are I-131 applications for travel authorization, I-485 applications for green card, and I-765 applications for work authorization. The process isn't the same for every case, and some applications cannot be expedited. For example, cases where premium processing is available or certain humanitarian-based benefits like I-134A cases and asylum are not eligible. If you're wondering whether your specific case can be expedited, you can easily book a consultation with one of our experienced attorneys through the Lawfully app. So, how do you qualify for an expedite request? Well, USCIS looks at a few key factors when deciding whether or not to expedite your case. Let's go over the main criteria they may consider. First, severe financial loss to a company or person. This is the most common one. Second, emergencies that need immediate attention. This includes urgent humanitarian reasons. Third, if you're a part of a nonprofit organization whose request supports the cultural or social interests of the US. Fourth, a Department of Defense or national interest situation. And lastly, if USCIS made a clear error on your case. Now, let's dive into a few real-life examples. One example comes from Rachel, who successfully expedited her green card application by leveraging multiple expedite criteria. She had a job offer at a nonprofit cancer hospital and submitted an expedite request with a well-organized folder of supporting documents. Here's how she approached it. Severe financial loss. Rachel explained that her job offer was her only source of income, and if she couldn't start on time, it would cause her severe financial loss. Nonprofit interests. She worked for a nonprofit institution that furthered the cultural and social interests of the US, since her job was indirectly funded by the National Institutes of Health. Government interests. The NIH funding and the hospital's contributions to public health aligned with US government interests. She supported her request with a detailed cover letter explaining how her situation fit these criteria, a job offer letter showing the start date and the need for permanent residency. She also added documentation of the grant award from the NIH and proof of the nonprofit status and impact. Plus, her personal bank statements showing she had no other income. Her advice? Be thorough. Bring more evidence than you think you'll need, and if possible, go in person to present your case, as phone requests are less effective. Another story comes from Reddit, where a user called Educational Cat 2092 successfully expedited their I-765 for an employment authorization document, also known as EAD, under a stressful situation. After more than a year of waiting for an update from USCIS, they were stuck in USCIS received your case. Their work authorization expired, and they were at risk of losing their job. Following a meeting with their HR department, where they were told they might be fired, they immediately called USCIS. During the call, the educational cat explained that they were about to lose their job because their employer couldn't keep them with an expired work permit. The emotion of the situation took over, and they began to cry while speaking with the USCIS representative. To their surprise, the representative expedited the case on the spot, promising that it would be updated within 7 business days. Exactly 1 week later, the case status changed to case is being produced, and this Redditor avoided losing their job without having to provide additional documents or write letters. This is a rare but successful expedite based on severe financial loss. The takeaway here is that while many people have to submit detailed evidence, in some cases, making a genuine and urgent request can work as well, especially if it involves the risk of severe financial loss. Our last real life example comes from a Lawfully user called Gabriela. Gabriela shared her journey of expediting her EAD and travel permit combo card in Lawfully's community. After multiple failed expedite attempts, she finally received an approval on her fourth try. She had been waiting for over a year, facing the risk of losing her job, while also urgently needing to visit her sick grandmother. She decided to submit one last expedite request, and this time it worked. Gabriela reached out to USCIS using the online agent Emma. And soon after, she received an email confirming that her case was under expedited review. Unlike her previous attempts, this time she wasn't asked to submit any additional evidence. On her fourth try, she got the email stating, "Your case is now under expedited review." And just a few days later, her status was updated to approved. Gabriela's story emphasizes the importance of persistence. She submitted multiple expedite requests and learned from each denial. Her advice: keep pushing forward and use every opportunity, including tools like the Emma agent, to engage with USCIS. So, if you think your situation is similar to one of these stories and might meet one of these criteria, make sure you have solid evidence and the right documents to back it up. If you're still unsure, feel free to book a consultation with one of our experienced attorneys through the Lawfully app. Now let's go through the specifics of how you can expedite your case. Before submitting an expedite request, USCIS recommends checking the current case processing times to ensure that your case qualifies for expedited handling. Also, verify whether premium processing is available for your type of application, as some cases may be eligible for this faster service. Keep in mind that you can only request an expedite if premium processing is not an option for your case. Once you have confirmed that an expedite request is necessary, you can submit it in one of 3 ways, each at no cost to you. Let's walk through the 3 available methods. Emma. The first option for submitting an expedite request is through the USCIS website, using their virtual assistant, Emma. Once you have received your receipt notice, you can initiate an expedite request by contacting the USCIS Contact Center or by interacting with Emma on the website. Be ready to clearly explain the reason for your expedite request and provide your receipt number. After that, USCIS will forward your request to the office handling your application for further review. In-person appointments. You can schedule an in-person appointment at your local USCIS office if you believe your case qualifies for expedited processing. USCIS has a new online appointment request system where you can schedule an InfoPass appointment. If your case is particularly urgent due to severe financial loss, an emergency, or another qualifying situation, you can request to speak with a USCIS officer directly. During the appointment, bring all relevant documents to support your expedite request. Make sure to arrive on time, as being late may result in having to reschedule your appointment. Calling the USCIS Contact Center. Another way to submit an expedite request is by calling the USCIS Contact Center at 1-800-375-5283. When you call, you will need your receipt number and a clear explanation of why you need to expedite your case. Your request will usually be handled by a Tier 1 officer, who may forward your case to a Tier 2 officer if more information is required. The contact center may request additional evidence depending on the reason for your expedite. After placing your request, you will receive a service request number, which you can use to track the status of your expedite request. Now we're going to walk you through the evidence that we've seen most successfully support approved expedite requests. Depending on your situation and the type of case you want to expedite, you'll need to provide specific supporting documents. The evidence required will vary based on the reason for your request, so it's crucial to tailor your documents to match USCIS expedite criteria. Here are some examples of what you might need. Severe financial loss or unemployment. If your job or financial stability is at risk, provide proof of your employment situation. For example, Rachel was at risk of losing a job offer at a hospital, so she submitted an offer letter and bank statements showing she had no other income. Similarly, Gabriela was in danger of losing her job, and her employer required valid work authorization. In her case, documentation from her employer confirming this was essential. Illness, disability, death, or extreme living conditions. If your request is based on urgent humanitarian reasons, like Gabriela's need to visit her sick grandmother, you'll need to submit medical documentation, such as a letter from the hospital or doctor, medical professional, or cultural program urgencies. If you are involved in medical research or a time sensitive academic or cultural program, provide proof of the urgency. For example, if you were a medical professional needed for research during the COVID-19 pandemic, you could include grant notices or letters from institutions explaining the need or proof of your role's impact on public health. Government interests. If your case impacts U.S. national interests, include documents from government entities showing how a delay would be detrimental. For instance, if your work supports a government agency or a project of national importance, provide a letter from the organization leadership to show the urgency of the situation. Clear USCIS error. If your request is based on a USCIS mistake, you'll need to show the error. For example, if you received a document with incorrect information that prevents you from working, like an incorrect employment authorization document, you can submit the document along with the evidence that the mistake affects your ability to maintain employment or meet other requirements. What happens after an expedite request is approved? According to USCIS, an expedite request means your application or petition will be taken out of the normal processing order, and a decision will be issued faster than the standard timeline. So you should see case status updates come pretty quickly. Make sure to download the Lawfully app, and you'll be notified via push notifications as soon as the government updates your status. You can find out additional details on how the process works on the Expedite Requests webpage. We've added a link in the description. Expediting your immigration case can be a game changer, saving you months of waiting time. The key to success is having strong specific evidence that fits USCIS criteria, whether it's severe financial loss, urgent humanitarian reasons, or a USCIS error. The process isn't always straightforward, but with the right strategy and documentation, you can give your case the best shot at approval. Don't forget, you can always consult our attorneys through the Lawfully app if you need guidance. Best of luck on your Expedite journey.